Stargate. Oh. I need to get it together. Okay. Alright, it's Memorial Day. Imagine a lot of people going to sleep in. I wouldn't blame them. Take a break from crazy, so that means the week's not going to be like it usually is. But, well, anything can happen between now and then. Not a whole lot's been going. I think with the Pope died, right, this month. Was it this month? I don't remember anymore. So at least that was some kind of significance. Obviously not much of a change. Well, sort of. I don't know if it awakened others to find themselves. Of course, they can find themselves into an alien cult, so maybe not. Oh well. Oh well. I'm going to this first. Yeah, I have to go there. It's just the way it is. You know, seeing how that's the majority. You know, even if they deny it, it's true. Not everybody, but a good amount. I was on my private sessions. Schedule. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff here. Calendar. Schedule, yeah. Yeah, orange. No, nobody does that anymore. Shop here. I have a meditation thing on the channel now. See if anybody is interested. I know many in the spiritual community want adventure and entertainment. God, man. I wonder what I'm doing here. I have no idea. I'm not here for entertainment. Unless I'm here for torture. That's what it feels like most of the time. It shouldn't feel that way, but yeah. I'm trying to look at it that way. I think it should be getting better over time. Yeah. Feline connections to the human element, of course, yeah, the reptilian also. The reptilian has a lot of physical connection here. I'm not telling anybody that's new. Of course, those that are connected to the demonic realms know everything anyway. You know, because the greatest thing since sliced demonic bread. And there's a lot of them out there, that's for damn sure. Not to say everybody's like that, but you know, there are some that are just like, what the fuck's wrong with you? But anyway, they incarnate as humans and they just think they know everything and so on, yada, yada, right? And yeah, you can look back at your family line or friends, like, kind of family that have like a demonic family? You'd be surprised. Or some are just influenced and are just fucking retarded here, but whatever. There's that too. You know, just kind of stupid, but whatever. Not everyone's, demonic energies like to influence everyone, feel like they run everything and so on. Obviously, can't talk about it too much because spiritual community, a good portion is like, whatever, an entertainment phase. But either way, not everyone's like that, which is good. But back to the reptilian energy. It's because I'm going into the felines, but kind of would go into, reptilian vibe of, you say that some of them are weaponized and, manipulated by, bird carrying beings and so on, and we don't know the full story. We never will know anything. We'll get pieces of it and just take what you got. What you got. You can't really prove anything anyway, physically, really. You can say it's the Carrions did this and that and whatnot, flying around their spaceship and whatever. You can't prove shit. So, Can't prove this either, but either way. Due to experience, evaluation, or download, or whatever you want to call it, the reptilian has been weaponized, in other realities, and came here to enslave us. Are very earthbound, they have like a physical element to them. To say, I mean, you say everything here has a physical element and so on, but from what I feel like, at least from my experience, the reptilian energy just, of course, you can see Archon too. We can go on and on with this, but it's like they have I don't know, like a link to the physical realms, maybe more than other beings, maybe all of them, possibly due to how they've been genetically altered throughout, space-time continuum and everything, or they can. They can even manipulate the lower dimensions. Not to say they're demonic, but some of it can be. But it depends on, they're militarized. Some of them are militarized. Obviously, you have different type of reptilian beings. They have like the nicest. Even snakes can be nice. Some of them just so they're not out there hurt anybody. Then you have but then you have like the crocodile. That's like, even those can be probably nice, I guess, as long as they're not hungry. As long as you know what the hell you're doing, or whatever. But you have the cat, for example, as some of you know, like the Lyrans and all that. They're in the sleeping in their comfortable trees, or on their carpet, or have their own bed, where the human sleeps on the ground, and so on. They have a comfort reality, and I've heard the story. The reptilians got kind of pissed off about that. Of course, there's a lot more to it than that. A lot of reptilians got mind control themselves, just like us, and they go after the felines and so on because they have it so good. Because you have like a crocodile that sleeps in the mud, basically, in the water. Just use that for example, and when you're living that type of lifestyle, of course, that's where they normally live. I don't know, you connect to your environment. So if it's like an actual physical being, they're just, they grew up in, they're raised in, harsh environments. So you connect to that physical realm, like ours, or you manipulate our planet so it's like what they're used to, so they can manipulate the shit out of it. So maybe our Earth, you can say, at one time was obviously a higher frequency, but the reptilian beings come here that's psychotic, they manipulated, MK Ultra themselves. They come here and they lower the frequencies of the planet just so they can live here a little bit more peacefully, and they can manipulate all realms of it to some level, and control us. And the feline energy, depending on how you look at it, it's just connections to us is the idea is for it to be a little bit more comfortable. I'm not sure if it is, but we have, we don't sleep in the forest and all that on the ground. I mean, you can, but it's kind of hard to visualize that, or not that you need to. But either way, we have like a feline connection where it's look for comfort in life. Let's put it that way. In some cases, some look for too much of it. So, and that's to help us through this, as we help us sleep and everything, as we deal with psychoticness, the psychotic side of the reptilian. So you can see what I'm getting at is one of the reasons we're going through this is what, like I say, as we're say it in a different way, what other beings have been through. We're going through their karma, and from other star systems. Some of it's serious, and not to say the felines are perfect either. I mean, they're spiritual beings, and a lot more than the dogs are. No matter what anyone says, of course, there could be some dogs that are more spiritually inclined, but of course, there's cats that are just fuck off, basically. So, some cats are more spiritually connected than others. So either way, the reptilian frequency here it's been through so much karma, and we gained all of that by being here, and we're here to sort things out. And it's difficult to find your way out of this place, and so the feline energy is kind of like a higher frequency coding. It's not perfect, obviously. Just it's to help us through, or it can just we could have been just barbaric, and we are to some level a barbaric society. That'd be more of the reptilian karma, but the feline DNA here, you could say, is to calm some of it down. Like I say, it's not there to be perfect, but there is to, give us some kind of easement, if there's even that, ease out the troubled society as much as possible, what it can do. Of course, the Anunnaki is evolved. Of course, they have their own issues. It's funny how the Anunnaki, like, of course, depending on how you look at it, they can genetically modify us, but then they add their crap to us. It's like, we have our comfort too, but we're gonna roll over your asses, and not to say they know what the fuck they're doing on their end. Not all of them are like that, but some of them are. And so on. So they got their, days of our lives issues and everything. They like their darkness too, and as a majority, it's big on all those things. So embrace their. They might have helped us genetically evolve, but like I said, then they download all their crap into our systems. So good luck on finding your way out of this place. Well, it's not easy. All this religious energy and everything, they're just making it very difficult. I mean, you have to go through all these little steps to graduate, let's put it that way. Well, you can say, Anunnaki-wise, I guess you could say they put a lot of their problems here because there's things that they couldn't figure out. They learned the hard way. Of course, we're learning the hard way all the time. But if we become more of a galactic society, whatever that'll be, if that ever happens, we become more aware of the alien groups, the multi-dimensions, society starts to care. We're learning from the Anunnaki and all the other crap, so when we get to that point, we're a little bit ahead of ourselves, or in a good way, maybe. At this rate, we're not going nowhere, but anyway. It just, all of this is about us connecting at some point to higher dimensional consciousness. Well, there's a big maybe there. A big maybe. I mean, you can do that when you leave this world. You can connect them all day long, but this society, I don't know, man. You never know. Never say never. Some of us might be here until like we're 80, just about praying for death. Of course, we're doing that already, but and then finally, you can see some influence here. Wow, society's finally pulling its head out of its ass. Look at that. Who knows? It would be nice to see that. I mean, the modern generations are becoming, or the younger generations, the 20s and things. I mean, they're rejecting, the old guard. So maybe the next generations will, maybe generation 4 or 5, maybe from here. Maybe we'll have fucking knows. So anyway, it's complicated stuff. I don't know. It's not that important, but then again, then you have these hucksters and the L. Ron Hubbard people, the mini-me L. Ron Hubbards that come in here all cool and act like they're like everybody else, and they're fucking jackasses. Just, telling you nonsense that doesn't mean anything. Just filling people's heads with fucking garbage, basically. And just keeping them from connecting to themselves. So, they're profiting from it, so, that's all that matters, right? Who cares? So, they're kind of like mini gods. What a mess. So, anyway, alright, we'll go into, feline energies and see what comes from that, so, anyway. Yeah, this is all complicated gibberish. I mean, it doesn't matter. But it might help somebody, possibly. Who knows? It might help us. Greasy with the awareness. Send your energies. Yes, there's a lot of cards in your deck of understanding your path here. It's not going to be the clearest. What matters is just what is important to you currently. Everyone has some kind of decency in your life. It might not be where you want to be, but it's always just good to try new things and to explore while you're here. Yes, I say live a little, but maybe live a little bit more. You have to live like everyone else, live your own way. Sometimes that's keeping a distance from those around you that don't exactly bring the best frequency to you, but still you're productive on your own level. Because on this world, there's a lot of programming. Maybe individuals have been programmed different ways. Some of you cut off that programming and you're free yourself, and then you connect to a friend or somebody known for some time, and then their programming comes back to you. Not to say they're downloading it, but it causes interference, their fears hit you, and so on. So just because it's good to become more aware of those things, and there's still you can still have these connections if it works, and you just see all the mind control that's going on and so on, and it's just part of human evolution of. But that's why you're connecting those individuals too, to give them. Doesn't mean you're going to bring spirituality to them. We can if that comes up, but it's not that important. What matters is that you're not being taken down by someone else's energy. You don't have to make it your job to awaken others, because they will awaken themselves at some point. They'll be asking you questions instead of you telling, by the way, I believe in multi-dimensional experiences, and I think I'm a half canine, and so on. People are, not everyone's. If they're talking to you about that stuff, that's a good thing. You can say what you want, whatever you like. But this is all just a complicated reality, no matter how you place it. And yes, the mind can be the most vicious creature of your own mind, no matter what others' minds of your own self-sabotage, or just put it's the one area that obviously genetically you've been your bodies are fragile, but the mind is still very powerful, not as powerful as it could be as for teleportation and things like that. It's been kind of diluted, it's been fogged out, or it's been shut down for a reason. But as you start to open up, more of your abilities basically become more sensitive to your environment. But many of you are also kind of learning combat, you can say, how to deal with this world's frequency. Yes, dealing with the reptilian. The reptilian, is all the galactic beings have their traumas. Even the elementals have their traumas. On a physical level, it's everywhere. It's not in some are there to clear it, others have not let it go, and so on. And it'll come through what you're here to clear. The idea is for your own life to have some kind of satisfaction in it. And also, if you're there to help others, or a lot of you are just working on themselves, there's nothing wrong with that. You help yourself, which helps the frequency of reality. And just your energy alone helps others. You cleared your energy, and the others might be fogged, and doesn't mean you know everything, but either way, you clear yourself out of agendas, and energetically that helps others, even if they're not always showing it, and so on. You're putting out a good frequency. Let's put it that way. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be the highest frequency. Just a decent energy overall. We find some kind of peace, and everything else will find its way to you. Of course, those on the spiritual path aren't always. They're living a little to some level, but not always. Like, yes, what do you leave behind? this world? What are you creating? If you want to leave anything behind at all. At some point you come into your life, it's like, yeah, you're not here physically anymore. What did you leave for others to know about you, or whatever it might be? You can do that through your children. Yes. Sometimes you put too much information there. And they change it. Either way, still, that's your contribution to humanity, which is a huge deal. So it's basically what you're leaving on this earth is the most important thing. It's one of the most important things, at least. Yeah, you're going to come back here or not is up to you, really. Yes, you might say you're not coming back here for right now. Yes, you might need a huge break. But as you can see, this world is still devouring itself. So it doesn't mean you have to have the same incarnate. If you do incarnate, it doesn't mean you have to have the same problems, things like that. You can avoid a lot of the great. Sometimes you go through the great difficulties, and then you incarnate again, and you're difficulty free. Like you might have some, but nothing like you're doing right now. Sometimes you're getting it over with. So because this world is not over yet, it still has a long ways to go. So blessings.